In this video, I will create a counter application with Collux. Collux is a Redux framework. So let's first look at the project setting. I have included React and React DOM in the project. These two libraries are used to render the view. I also included Collux framework. This is a framework we are using to build our application. And we also included Collux dev client library. This is the development tool to help us to visualize the architecture, data flow, and the business logic of our application. So let's first create a basic structure of the application. So we will use Collux create app. We need to specify the architecture we want to use. So let's use Redux single road app as architecture. This is a predefined architecture in Collux. And next, let's call app.run to run our app. Before I run the app, I will enable the dev tool. This dev tool add-on class is imported by the collar dev client library. So next, I will start the collar dev server. So let's go to terminal and start collar dev server. You need to first install it from npm install. Now I have already installed this collar dev server on my computer, so I can directly run it from command line. Okay, so it's running on port 7500. Let's go to port 7500. This is the collar dev tool interface. I put it here. Okay, now let's run our application. In collar dev tool, the data flow are displayed. Now I want to check the architecture of our application. So let's go to architecture and hierarchy view, top-down view. So you will see the hierarchy of our application. This is a very basic architecture of Redux application. So we have three components: system, store, and view. Let's expand these components. And now we have the architecture and the data flow. Okay, you have noticed that there are several nodes marked as gray because they have not been implemented yet. So you need to specify these functions in the application constructor to configure your application. So let's do that. First, we need to add a state initiator and a render and a view updater. So let's do that in the code. First, we give it an initial state. Let's say 100. And then we need to render the view. And of course, we need to tell the view how to update its own state. Let's first create a React component. Let's call it counter view. Constructor. And I give the state an empty object. In the render function, we return a basic view structure. Let's use value. Okay, now I will render this view, counter view, in the render function. Let's first give it a reference called counter view and render it in the render function. counter the document that we render it in counter element in HTML. So we have created this structure, and in the update state function, we can call contribute.set state, and we use the we use the state as the new value. Okay, this is the basic setting of our application. Let's save and run. So the initial state is rendered in the view, and in the color adapter, the node are black now. So that means they have been implemented now. So now let's add some actions to handle the increment and decrement. So I will create a reducer. This reducer will handle the increment action. So I will return credit state plus 1. Okay, to increase the state by 1. So let's run the app. So in the code adapter, a new data flow is created. So the increment action will first get the state, and then call the reducer to generate the new state and save the state, prepare a state change message, and pass that message to the view to render the UI. So let's test it. I will send this action through the store input. So let's go to push signal panel and create action message. So this message will send to the store input. So I click the store input, I click push. The view changes. Okay, so it works. The next step is to send this action through the UI. So we will add an element on the view, and when we click it, we will send this action. So this action will send through the view sensor and to the store input. So let's do it. First, let's create a button and handle the on-click event handler. We add on increment function. So in this function, we need to reference the view sensor and send the action through the view sensor to the store input. So how could we get the instance of the view sensor? We can pass that instance from the properties. So that's in the render function, let's add a sensor property. And we use get view sensor to get the instance of the view sensor. And now in the increment function, we can use this props sensor.send. We will send the exact action that we used in the test. So let's just use action type increment. Okay, now let's save and run. Yeah, there is a button. Click it. Okay, it works. So next, let's just create the decrement action and at the UI part. Decrement, and send action decrement. I think it's for decrement. Okay, save and run. Okay, it works. So this is our counter application with Collux. And let's go back to the color adapter, and we have two actions data flow are created. So one is increment and another is decrement. So this is data flow and architecture.